how to boost your focus for language learning. So guys, there's a big problem in the world, and I think particularly in a lot of Western countries, where people just have absolutely terrible focus. And I mean particularly younger people like Gen Z, anyone between like 30 and like 10 has really, probably even younger than 10 with, I see kids on iPads just in public, they're like 3, it's pretty bad. But yeah, everyone I think just has really terrible focus, and this does make it really difficult to learn a language. It's kind of like driving with the handbrake on. So I think a lethal combination of probably social media, dopamine, Western culture weakness, and a bunch of other things has actually destroyed people's focus. And yeah, it's not good for when you actually need to focus. So this video is a guide to becoming more focused while language learning, basically so you can learn faster and remember things better. Yeah, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. I've got my link to the Discord in the description, and let's go. So first of all, why your focus is actually bad. I think there are 3 major reasons that are actually, destroying your focus. So we've got distractions, which are things in the moment that actually interrupt your focus. The second thing is social media, particularly short form content, high dopamine content. It really destroys your ability to concentrate on things. And then dullness, your brain is not particularly sharp because of diet, sleep deprivation, etc. And we'll go through all of these things on their own page. But basically, we want to destroy all of these things so that we can actually retain more knowledge. Your brain is kind of like a sponge, and when your focus is really poor, it doesn't actually retain that much water or knowledge in this instance, and that's not good. You want to actually go into a language learning study session knowing you're going to walk out with the most possible knowledge put into your brain. So yeah, by the way, there are a lot of to-do lists in this video on each page, so feel free to pause the video, screenshot, take notes, etc. And I'd highly recommend as well, just because doing the steps in this video will turn you into a superior learner and a superior person overall. So number 1, distractions. Distractions are basically when you're trying to focus, things that come in and like they block your focus, they interrupt your focus. They've actually done studies, first of all, I'll say, that have found that phone notifications are actually more distracting than weed. So they actually compared people that were on marijuana to people who had their phone going off next to them, and the people that were smoking weed actually were more productive. So that is how bad having your phone next to you bleeping notifications actually is. If you think you're going to imagine trying to learn a language while you're inebriated with like marijuana. That is actually not as bad as you having your phone beeping notifications next to you. So 100% we need to get rid of the phone. And even if it is on silent with no notifications, a lot of people still like try and study with their phone next to them. That's still bad because having it next to you is destroying your productivity. You get the urge to check it, you'll look at it. If it's taking up space in your brain, it's distracting you. So you need to put your phone in a different room. So my to-do list I'd give you to actually kind of eliminate as many distractions as possible. And there's always more to be done, but this is kind of just the basic, is phone on silent and put it in another room. You shouldn't be able to see it, hear it, and ideally you shouldn't be thinking about it as well. But that might take a bit of time because most people are phone addicts. But yeah, setting yourself a clear task as well. A lot of people sit down to do work and they know they need to do work, but they have no idea what they're actually doing. So if you're language learning, set yourself a clear deep work block like you're going to do. It should be time and tasks. So 20 minutes on flashcards, for example, and that's all you're going to do. And you don't have to do that, but you're also not allowed to do anything else. So if you say, I'm going to do flashcards for 10 minutes or whatever, you can sit there and you can do the flashcards or you can do nothing. And so your brain will actually decide that it's better to do the flashcards than to sit there and be bored. And it's going to take a little bit of discipline to enforce that rule on yourself, but it is worth it and you will make progress in the future. So the third thing I'd recommend is to be prepared as well. So nothing is worse than having to get up and move around and do stuff when you're actually in the deep work block. So make sure you've got water next to you, make sure you use the toilet, make sure you've got everything sorted like a laptop charge or whatever, etc. before the actual study session. And ideally you would have these study sessions organized into a habit tracker so you know what you need to actually be doing every single day. I've already made a video on habit trackers if you want to check that out. But yeah, that is another completely separate thing that's good. And then the fourth tip I'd give you for distractions is to basically keep your workspace clear and free of distractions. I should have taken a before photo, but I actually cleaned up my desk recently and it's got like 1/4 of the stuff on it that it previously did. Just because I didn't use basically any of it, I could put it in drawers elsewhere where it was out of the way, or I could just bin it. So that, and I've noticed personally, it's made a huge difference. I've literally got like my laptop, I've got one like container of stationery. I put a lot of the other stationery that I don't use in drawers, and then I've got like a wooden like ladder thing for stacking stuff on. It's literally got like 2 books, like my journal for like like my calendar and stuff, and then my notebook for Russian, and then maybe like one or two other things on it. But yeah, it's super clean now, and it's much better for actually doing work. And yeah, a few bonus tips if you wanted a few other things on distractions. Focus mode as well, so you can design yourself a focus mode on your laptop where it actually, you can switch it on and it blocks all notifications. So if you need to use your laptop or if you need to use your phone for studying, you can actually put on focus mode and it will disable all other things. So you have to look into that yourself. Disabling notifications, I don't know why I've written that twice. I guess just turning off notifications on your laptop. Grayscale as well is super good. I've actually turned that on recently on my phone. You can basically go into, I think it's accessibility, maybe display on your phone settings if you have an Apple, and then set it to grayscale. Just Google how to put grayscale on my device, and then whatever device you have, it'll be pretty easy to figure out. And yeah, it basically gets rid of all color and it turns into gray. You can flick it off if you need to, but it actually makes it so much harder to procrastinate and do other things just because the color is kind of incentivizing you with dopamine. But yeah, and then white noise as well. I haven't really used this, but some people find they get really auditorily, is that a word? They get distracted by noise. So if you want to put in AirPods with white noise or anything like that, yeah, go for it as well. That personally isn't something I've tried, but I know a lot of people have, and it really works for them. So just kind of find the things that work for your personality. All right, onto social media. So we've talked about distractions. Your actual ability to pay attention to something has been kind of destroyed, and social media is a big reason for that. So I'm going to define attention span as basically continuous units of time that you can delegate to a single task. And that has been greatly, greatly reduced by social media and by short form content, by high dopamine content, and by Western comfort as well. So I think as far as like social media goes, you know how it works. You're basically exposed to a lot of really, really short videos that generally, they've got music, they've got color, they're really fast edited, like TikToks, etc. And they are really, really bad for your attention span. I think, I'm not sure, I can't remember exactly how long the average TikTok lasts. It's definitely less than like 20 seconds. A lot of them are probably less than 10. And if you think about it, you don't even watch most of them. You swipe in less than a second. That is absolutely terrible for your attention span, and it is actually making you a worse learner. So you have to decide, do you actually want to spend like, I don't know, some people spend over an hour a day just flicking through TikTok or whatever. Is that worth it, or do you actually want to become a better learner? Like, pretend for example, I had a magic pill that could basically double your focus. How much do you think you'd pay for it? Even if you didn't want to learn a language, you'd still probably take the pill if it had no side effects, because it would literally double your focus. I think I could probably sell that pill for maybe thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, and people would probably buy it. And yet, when the pill is actually free, all you need to do is basically stop watching TikTok and other, short form content horse shit. People don't do it. And the reason for that is they're kind of enslaved by it. They're kind of addicted to the social media. So what I'd urge you to do is to, if you can, actually cut it all out completely. But I understand a lot of people aren't going to go straight into that. So I'd highly recommend you cut back on short form content. Don't watch short form content before you've done your language learning. Maybe say you can only watch it afterwards. Don't watch it right before bed as well, because that will kind of, it doesn't actually relax your mind. People say, I need it to relax. Entertainment and unwinding are two separate things. So doing things you actually enjoy, like, maybe indulging in short form content, it's not good for you, but whatever. It's not relaxing you, so don't watch it before bed as well. Excuse me. But yeah, definitely cut back on the short form content. Definitely cut back on the social media. Maybe set yourself, to start off with, maybe set yourself once a day where you can check all social media. You can spend like half an hour doing it if you want, and then you don't touch it for the rest of the day. And I'd also recommend you can actually, if you go onto YouTube and it's recommending you shorts, you can hit the 3 dots on the thumbnail of the video and press not interested. And if you do it enough times, it will actually stop recommending you YouTube shorts, for example. And then I'd also recommend, much better than just cutting out things, is to actually fill your time with things that are good for you. So increase your consumption of long form content, of educational content like podcasts, guides on things. It don't have to be like 4-hour videos as well. It can be like a 20-minute video or a 10-minute video. Even that's an improvement on, like, for example, the language you're learning. So yeah, I already said before, I'll put some recommendations in the description. If you want a bonus tip, you can do a full dopamine detox where you cut out all social media. You even cut out like music for a week. If you want help with that, comment down below and I'll give you a hand. That's a bit more extreme. It does work, but yeah, most people aren't willing to do that. In short, social media is basically destroying your attention span, and when your life is just filled with short form content, it's really, really hard to concentrate on things. So That is that. Third and final tip is dullness. So when I say dullness, I mean your brain is basically sluggish, it has a low processing speed. You're not really efficient at anything, and the alternative to this would be what we want, which is sharpness. Basically, your brain is firing quick, you're on point, you're ready to learn. And a lot of people's brains are on the sharpness, the dullness spectrum, they're way more towards dullness just because there are a lot of factors in our life that actually dull people's ability to think and to work. So I'm talking specifically about diet, sleep, lifestyle, and a few other things. So as far as getting your brain sharp, you need to sleep properly. I can't remember the exact statistics, sorry, but I think most people are, I want to say more than 60% are sleep deprived, in that they're getting less than 8 hours of sleep on average, and that's just not good. So you need to lock in your sleep as number one. I'd say if you had to put one of these like healthy habits on your habit tracker, I'd say sleep as well. Make sure you're getting more than 8 hours of sleep. 8 hours of sleep is not the same as 8 hours in bed as well. So if you're in bed from, for example, 10 till 6 or 12 till 8, that's not actually 8 hours. It should probably be more like 12 to 8:30 or 12 to 9 maybe at the most, because 8 hours of sleep is not the same as 8 hours in bed. You wake up in the night and you do other things. So try and get half an hour more than 8 hours in bed. And I'd also say definitely no screens before bed. So half an hour before you're actually about to go to sleep, at least you need to be unwinding. So definitely don't be on any kind of technology unless you can listen to things, as long as you're not actually looking at the screen. So if you want to listen to an audiobook or a podcast, something that's kind of low dopamine, then you can definitely do that. But yeah, I'd recommend reading or listening to a podcast before bed. And also lying on the floor can be really good as well. Another tip I found is making your room really, really cold and making sure it's completely dark as well. That is the best for getting to sleep. And also having a consistent time you're going to bed. I can't actually do this in my life at the moment with my schedule. I hopefully will be able to soon. But yeah, having a consistent time, like for example, 9 p.m. or whatever, is really good for making sure you're consistently going to sleep. As far as diet goes, a lot of people just eat absolute crap, like, processed food, a lot of probably too much alcohol, and that actually does destroy your brain's ability to focus on things and to work efficiently. So I'd highly recommend, my number one tip with diet would actually be to do at least one task fasted. So before you actually eat breakfast in the morning, try and do one thing first. So it could be flashcards, it could be journaling, it could be read a few pages of a book. Just do one thing before you actually eat and you'll see how much more focused you are. Obviously, if you've just woken up, you might be a bit groggy, so try and, have a cold shower, you can have black coffee, go outside as well, getting sunlight in your eyes really good. Obviously don't stare at the sun if it's hurting, but like it's good for waking you up. And yeah, doing one, it's called the frog task. That probably doesn't make any sense. I'd highly recommend you check out my video on Eat the Frog. It basically means doing a task first thing in the morning. That is really good as well. And then as far as eating healthily goes, a lot of food like high in carbohydrates, sugars, etc. is really, really bad for your brain. It actually destroys your focus. So the best food I've found for sharpness is just to eat a healthier diet. So single ingredient meals, not having a bunch of different preservatives and shit in it. I'd recommend just sticking to meat, plants, and animal products as well. Keto diet is really good, but some people do still want to have carbs in like rice, bread. So if you want to do that, sure, but eating carbs does actually make it a little bit harder to concentrate. For me, it makes it a lot harder. Some people, it's only a little bit harder. Some people, it doesn't actually change things. But yeah, generally eating just meat and plants and animal products and eating a healthy diet is better than like eating a lot of carbs, particularly first thing in the morning. It does make you sluggish. And yeah, that's basically it. I'll try and put a few more tips in the description as far as staying awake goes. I already mentioned how to wake yourself up. But yeah, guys, I'd highly recommend you subscribe. It does make me feel better about all the time I put in for free. I'll have a link in the description to my Discord if you want to check that out. And yeah, have a good one. Thank you for watching.